Here's what's on your feed today. Resigned Ateneo coach Tab Baldwin faces investigators as the probe deepens into the deaths of two players under his watch. President Bongbong Marcos says his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin has ordered the release of 24 Filipinos detained in Russia. A survey exposes a trust gap, with only 19% believing senators will rule on Sara Duterte's impeachment trial based on evidence. Tennis star Alex Ayala rocks the Berlin Open, stunning world number 2 Elena Rybakina in the biggest win of her career. And a stray cat crashes a Romeo and Juliet performance in Turkey, stealing the final scene from the dead Romeo. Good afternoon, I'm Denise Tan. Embattled basketball coach Tab Baldwin faces investigators over the deaths of Ateneo players Divine Adili and Rene Baterbonia. And for the details, we have mobile journalist Jazz Paredes, who's reporting to us live from Camp Crame. Jazz, what do we know so far about this probe?
Yes, Denise, no, at bandang alas 8 na pasado ng umaga kanina ay dumating nga si dating head coach Tab Baldwin dito sa PNP sa EDC. Kaugnay nung ikalawang sabi na sa kanya na iniimbitahan siya na magpakita dito sa tanggapan ng PNP sa EDC upang isalaysay at makatulong doon sa investigasyon ng pagkasawi nga nitong ni Rene Baterbonia at Divine Adili. At sa ngayon nga, ang una at inisyal na impormasyon na inilapag sa atin ni DLG Secretary John Vic Remulla ay meron niyang pagkakaiba dito sa testimony, merong inconsistencies. At hindi daw nagtatama or hindi parehas yung pagkakakwento ng testimonya nitong ni Baldwin, ng coaching staff, at nitong players. Dahil nga, kung matatandaan natin, Denise, babalikan lamang natin, noong Monday, unang ipinatawag sila, ang coaching staff at top management ng Ateneo, at tanging si athletics head Emmanuel Fernandez lamang ang nakarating. At itong mga coaches na hindi nakarating ay tanging mga abogado lamang ang kanilang ipinadala. Ngunit kinwestiyon yan ng sa ADG kung ano yung purpose ng representation nitong mga lawyers, dahil nga hindi nito nasaksihan daw yung nangyari during the incident, so hindi magiging valid o hindi makakatulong yung kanilang pagdating doon sa magiging overall investigation, dahil kailangan nga itong mismong mga personalities ang personal na maharap sa ADG. At sa ngayon, sa ikalawang beses, ay ngayon naman ay ang sabi nila, inconsistent nga or hindi parehas yung naging testimonies nitong players at ni head coach Tab Baldwin. Sa ngayon, ang alam natin ay from a vantage point o yung sa perspective nitong dalawa, ay itong mga players daw ay nasa pampang or nasa tubig nitong oras ng insidente, habang itong mga coaching staff ay nasa pampang o nasa show. Wala sila sa tubig during that time. So yun yung tinitignan nila na possibility na kaya magkaiba yung kwento or yung kwento nitong dalawang panig. Ngunit sa ngayon, ay ang alam natin, meron ding drone itong si head coach Tab Baldwin during the incident. Nakuha daw nila itong copy na halos 2 minutes daw ito, Denise. Although hindi daw masyadong malinaw itong video, dahil nga inilabas niya itong drone during the incident dahil nga nandito sila sa may pampang at nasa tubig itong players to get a better perspective nitong nangyayari. Ngunit dahil na rin sa pagmamadali daw at hindi na naayos yung drone, ay hindi na rin naayos yung pagsa-set up. So sa ngayon wala pa silang naibigay na impormasyon kung ano nga ba yung nakuha mula dito sa drone footage. They're still reviewing it nung nakausap natin si DLG Secretary John Vic Remulla. At sa ngayon, ang nakikita rin natin na inaantay pa natin ay itong si Father Bobby Yap ay hindi nakadalo din ngayong araw dahil nga graduation ng Ateneo de Manila. So papatawag siya muli next week Thursday. So Thursday natin siya asahan na pagdating dito. However, itong hindi niya pagdating, Denise, ay isa sa mga rason kung bakit noong naunang pahayag niya ay target nilang maipasa itong full report sa DOJ on Tuesday next week. Ngunit madadagdagan pa raw ng isa pang linggo. So hindi nila ma-meet daw itong target nila. Dahil nga una may lumabas na testimony itong si Baldwin na may inconsistency. So that calls for another extensive investigation. At ito nga si Father Bobby Yap ay hindi nakarating, which is it's also important din yung kanyang testimony. At ang alam natin, meron pa tayong inaantay na iba pang testimony kagaya na lamang ni team manager Epic Kumpo Epoch Kim po na hindi rin nakadalo ngayong araw. So which led doon sa pagtagal pa nung investigation dito sa CADG. Denise.
Okay, just balikan muna natin itong point of view na sinasabi nila, no? Magkaiba daw sila ng perspective, but weren't there reports as well coming from the players themselves na meron naman daw coaches in the water as well? Dagdag ko na rin, Jazz, ito bang drone na kinokontrol di umano ni Tab Baldwin, where is he controlling this from? Kung sinabi na nasa Pampang sila, does this mean that the incident was happening right in front of them, kung saan nakikita nila mismo yung nangyayari sa kanilang mga players, or were they somewhere else na wala silang access sa kanilang mga atleta?
Actually, Denise, no, yan din yung ating question kasi ang pagkakaalam natin ay lahat sila nagtulong-tulungan nga to rescue itong ngang si Butterbonia at Adili, at yun ang accounts na nakuha natin so far. Isa yan sa naitanong natin kanina na bakit it-net up yung drone, nasaan ba sila during that time, what was the purpose, and did he set up the drone noong nangyayari na yung insidente? So these are the questions din na umikot during the panayam natin sa kanya kanina. But Remulla refused to respond kung ano yung kanilang account na nakuha so far or testimony ni Baldwin regarding dito, dahil nga ongoing pa raw yung investigation at hindi pa daw nila masasagot to sa ngayon, but we will update or tatanungin natin yan after the investigation kung ano nga ba talaga yung kanilang pwesto or nasaan ba talaga, ano ba talaga yung tamang timeline and account, and ano ba talaga yung nangyari during that time. Thanks.
Jazz, saan ngayon papasok itong Anti-Hazing Act? Alam natin that is defined as whether if there is an activity that may cause psychological or physical harm. Ano, may sapat daw bang ebidensya para i-solidify ang anggulong yan?
Denise, ang nauna nating balikan lang natin yung mga naunang pahayag ng CADG. Noong una, dalawa yung tinitignan nating possible na kaso, o ito yung tinitignan natin na patutunguhan ng investigasyon. Noong una ay posibleng homicide or in violation of the anti-hazing law. But nitong mga nakaraan na panayam natin sa kanila is pero yung kanya lamang nabanggit, itong violation of the anti-hazing law, na dahil nga daw ang definition nito o yung violation dito sa batas na ito ay hindi lamang yung sa physical harm, but also the exposure to dangerous conditions or psychological pressure. At kung titignan natin yung accounts na nakuha natin so far is itong ang players prior to their attendance or pagpunta dito sa team building ay they were informed na delikado na nga yung waters at 700 meters away from the resort without witnesses or wala din ng lifeguard. So ang nakikita natin na sinasabi rin ng CADG director ay ito yung mga tinitignan nilang possible na which would lead to the violation of the anti-hazing law. Pero Denise, clarify lang natin, no, it's still not the final conclusion. So ito pa lang yung initial na pinatutunguhan ng kanilang investigation, and they are still exploring all possible violations or ano man yung kanilang mga nilabag. Meron bang negligence or is the homicide still present? Lahat daw yan ng anggulo ay kanilang tinitignan dahil gusto nilang maging airtight yung magiging kaso nila. Kung sino man yung mananagot dito sa nangyaring insidente nga kay Adili at Butterbonia. Denise.
All right, thank you for your update. Again, that was mobile journalist Jazz Paredes reporting live from Camp Crame. Now, as authorities continue their probe into the deaths of Adili and Butterbonia, the call for justice is also growing within the Ateneo community. Students, faculty, and other members of the Ateneo de Manila University held an academic walkout this Friday, June 19. Wearing black, they called for truth, accountability, and justice for the players who died during a team-building activity in Dipaculao, Aurora.
Hustisya para kay Rene Divine! Hustisya! Hustisya para kay Rene Divine! Hustisya!
In other news, BPI President and CEO TG Limcauco has apologized to customers following the bank's massive operational disruption this week. In an interview on Money Talks, Limcauco said the problem stemmed from a series of issues, including a network problem, heavy back-end load after an app update, and payday transactions. He said the bank has since addressed the issue. Limcauco also confirmed that the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is now looking into the matter. The BPI chief said the bank is preparing a full report for the regulator and vowed to be thorough, complete, and honest about what happened.
really apologize for the inconvenience that may have caused. All we have to do is be honest and be upfront. And the reality is this was a digital issue. People did not lose access to their accounts. There were no errors in the balances.
More stories when One Newsfeed returns. Stay tuned. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Welcome back. President Bongbong Marcos is hopeful the Senate can now return to business following the election of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as Senate President. Speaking before his return to Manila, Marcos said he expects the Senate to resume deliberations on the administration's priority measures and act on pending appointments. The president noted that the recent leadership stalemate in the upper chamber had delayed legislative work and held up important government business. Gatchalian was elected Senate President during a special session on Wednesday, ending a 2-week leadership dispute in the chamber. Marcos said he is ready to work with the new Senate leadership to help fast-track priority legislation, especially amid continuing economic challenges.
Sana naman sa paglagay ni Senator Sherwin bilang SP ay mabalik naman tayo sa normal na patakbo ng Senado. And that they can take care of the business of government, the business of legislation, and all these necessary legislation that we listed to show that our priority.
Senator Ping Lacson is pushing back against former Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano's defense of the chamber's operating expenses during the recent leadership standoff. Lacson said the issue is not how much the Senate spent during Cayetano's 28-day tenure, but the lack of legislative output during that period. The senator argued that taxpayers' money was effectively wasted because the chamber produced no legislative work amid the boycott of plenary sessions and a prolonged leadership dispute. Cayetano had earlier maintained the Senate's daily operating expenses would have been incurred regardless of who served as Senate President. But Lacson insisted that the real issue is accountability for the chamber's inactivity. He estimated that the Senate spends about 25 million pesos a day, which would total around 700 million pesos over the 28 days he described as a period of inaction. Now, an Okta survey has found that only 19% of Filipinos believe the Senate will decide based on evidence in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. The survey also found that 32% do not trust that senators will base their decision on evidence, while 49% remain undecided. Okta said the results highlight a challenge in building public confidence in the integrity of the impeachment process. A separate survey also showed 74% of respondents support holding an impeachment trial for the vice president. On Thursday, House prosecutors and lawyers for Duterte attended a pretrial conference at the Senate. This serves as the initial proceeding before the trial begins on July 6. One Newsfeed will be back after this short break. Stay tuned. You're still watching One Newsfeed. Welcome back. President Marcos is returning home from his 2-day working visit to Russia with several key developments in hand. And for the latest, we go live to News 5 correspondent Maricel Halili. Mase, ano ba yung kinokonsindera ng Malacanang as their biggest accomplishment after this visit to Russia?
Well, there are a lot of issues that were discussed between President Bongbong Marcos and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Una dyan, yung pinaka-importante, I guess, is yung pagiging open ng Russian government na i-explore yung pagiging non-traditional source nila when it comes doon sa mga petroleum supply ng Pilipinas. Matatandaan natin, Denise, na during the height of the oil crisis brought by the Middle East conflict, isa sa mga nagbigay sa atin ng langis ang Russia. So gustong i-explore ni PBBM yung possibility of making Russia as one of our non-traditional energy sources. And number two, pinayagan ng Russian government na makalaya yung 24 Filipinos based on the bilateral talks between the President and President Putin. Sinabi na mukhang wala pang charges na i-file doon sa 24 Filipinos. So inaasahan natin na today, pwede nang ma-process at makabiyahe pabalik ng Pilipinas yung 24 Filipinos. Of course, natanong din yung tungkol dun sa mga possible investments. Ang sabi ni PBBM, wala pa tayong concrete agreements with the Russian government kasi nandun pa lang naman tayo sa start ng talks with Russia. Pero ang maganda daw ngayon, identify na kung ano-anong mga sectors yung pwedeng i-expand pa yung cooperation, like yung agriculture sector. And PBBM also assured, of course, suportado niya just in case na matuloy yung plano na magkaroon ng direct flight ang Pilipinas dyan sa Russia. Pero ang mas priority daw ngayon ay yung pagpaparami ng flights to ensure na mas may encourage yung mga tourists na magpunta sa dalawang bansa. Denise.
Okay, balikan natin itong 24 Filipinos set to be released. Ano, meron na ba tayong timeline or at least do we know kung kailan sila posibleng makauwi? At ano ulit kasi yung naging susi dun sa pangakong pagpapalaya dito sa 24 Filipinos na to?
Denise, kahapon nangyari yung media interview, or at least last night, Philippine time, nangyari yung media interview ni President Marcos dyan sa Russia. Based doon sa kanyang sagot, 5 p.m. tomorrow, makakalipad na raw yung mga Filipinos pabalik ng Pilipinas. So kung 5 p.m. tomorrow, today yon, ina-expect natin na poproseso na para makalaya na nga yung 24 Filipinos. Nabuksan lang daw kasi ni PBBM yung issue na yan na nagkaroon sila ng bilateral talks ni President Putin, tapos nabanggit ni President Putin that he was not aware about doon sa cases ng 24 Filipinos. But then last night, nung nagkaroon daw sila ng another talk, doon na daw nasabi ni President Putin na nalaman niya na yung information and pumayag siya agad na mapalaya kasi wala naman daw formal charges na na-file pa. Although inabot ng 9 months yung 24 Filipinos sa detention.
Pero ang gobyerno ba natin, meron bang ihinahanda na assistance for their return and reintegration, talking about the 24 Filipinos?
Well, sa part ni President Marcos, wala siyang nabanggit. Maybe, ang Department of Migrant Workers, meron nang ipine-prepare dyan kasi meron naman din silang protocol every time na meron tayong napapa-repatriate na Filipinos from other countries. Meron na rin silang naka-ready na programs para dyan.
Okay, tapos yung binanggit mo din kanina about the direct flights between the Philippines and Russia, kailan ulit natin yan pwedeng asahan?
Wala pang agreement for now. Kumbaga, yan ay nasa pangarap pa lang natin, Denise. But of course, napapag-usapan, hopefully magkatotoo. Pero ang kasunod kasi na tanong dyan, how about yung visa ng Filipinos na papunta ng Russia and vice versa? Ngayon daw, hindi yan napapag-usapan. Mukhang wala yan sa consideration. Ang sabi ni President Marcos na talagang consideration nila for now, sana magkaroon talaga ng direct flights. Kasi isa doon sa 3 priority topics nila nung nag-usap sila ni President Putin ay yung people-to-people exchanges, including na nga dyan yung tourism.
Alam mo, important yung visa talks, kasi it has to be made easier for Filipinos as well. Pero sige, ito na lang, bilang panghuli na lang, Mase, were there any actual invitation exchange between President Marcos and President Putin for future visits?
Yes, during the bilateral meeting of President Marcos and President Putin, PBBM has personally invited the Russian president to visit our country on November this year. Kasi di ba ang Pilipinas ang chair ng ASEAN. So the Philippines will host the East Asia Summit this November. So ang presence ni President Putin will be very welcome, will be very will be very important because Russia is one of the partner countries of ASEAN. So we're hoping na makita natin siya in Manila come November. Denise.
All right, thank you for those updates. Again, that was News 5 correspondent Maricel Halili. Now, Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala upset world number 2 Elena Rybakina to advance to the Berlin Open quarterfinals. The world number 35 held her nerve to take the first set 7-5 before maintaining her momentum in the second. The victory marks Ayala's first win over the reigning Australian Open champion and one of the biggest of her career. It also serves as revenge after her earlier loss to Rybakina in Rome. She is now set to face world number 8 Elina Svitolina of Ukraine in the quarterfinals. Now let's end this week on a fun note. A cat stole the show during a performance of Romeo and Juliet in Turkey. The stray casually wandered onto the stage during the final scene just as the tragedy reached its emotional peak. It even curled up next to the dead Romeo and played with the actor's hair. Imperial Russian Ballet Company cast members said stray cats often show up at the outdoor shows in Turkey and are sometimes part of the experience. And that wraps up One Newsfeed, the only feed you need. I'm Denise Tan. Good evening.